Hey everybody, Bart with Bicycle Rider YouTube, and we have a Specialized Creo SL. You guys might have recognized this bike from about 2 years ago. So this is a bike that my producer Gary bought 2 years ago. We did the initial video, and he has done a lot of riding since then on this bike, and a few upgrades. So Gary and I just finished an actual ride today. We did the Farm to Fork benefit ride, and it was over 1,000 athletes, and it was a good stout ride. And that's one of the things we want to talk about with this bike. This bike is smooth, it's manageable, and it does have enough power to propel you into these ride situations. Like today, it was a mass group ride. With over 1,000 bicycles leaving about one time, you don't want a bike that's really jerky or really hard to handle. This bike is smooth. Gary rides this bike a lot on our local group rides. It does have about 40 Newton meters of torque, so we don't really compute that into watts. A lot of people come into my bicycle shop, Biloxi Bicycle Works, and you know, we sell a lot of hub drive motor e-bikes like the Aventon, different things like that you know, they advertise as a 750 watt peak, 500 watt sustained. Those bikes definitely have their place for, you know, certain buyers. But if you're one of those buyers that wants to buy an e-bike but ride it like a regular bike, not just, you know, to tool around town with your friends, and there's nothing wrong with that. It says tooling around town on your friends on a hub drive motor bike is awesome. But if you actually want to ride your bike with a group, ride your bike with other bicycle riders that don't have a motor, this bike really does it in a way that's manageable. We're all good with it. We love to see Gary out on the rides. Gary is not a light guy like me. I'm 150 pounds. Gary, you know, Gary's a bigger guy. He's a big bone guy that used to play, okay, he used to play football. He's 270 pounds. So Gary, you know, pushes this bike to, you know, to about his max. It's great to see Gary out there riding bikes with us. So, you know, if it wasn't for the e-assist, we might not have Gary with us a lot. And it really has had Gary's fitness totally ramp up. So in the 2 years Gary has had this bike, well, now it's been a gateway drug because Gary went ahead and bought a, you know, a Specialized Diverge expert model. So this has been a gateway drug to Gary buying a, you know, a regular bike, an acoustic bike. But we still ride this bike a lot. So we do Tuesday, Thursday group rides out of Biloxi, Mississippi. Gary rides normally with the group that's averaging, you know, 18 to 20 mile an hour. Now Gary can jump in with the A group sometimes with us. We've known Gary to, you know, all of a sudden shoot into us. So, you know, Gary can propel this bike, you know, 28 mile an hour, no problem. But, you know, that's not everybody wants to ride those speeds. So even though this bike does let Gary do that, you know, he prefers to ride with a more manageable group, a little bit friendlier group that's not cutthroat like the A group is. So this bike does let Gary, you know, help other riders. You know, we go into wind or something, Gary can go up front and, you know, and let everybody, you know, get pulled by him. It's great at going up the undulating hills. It's great at going downhill. And one thing Gary has mentioned, that this bike helps him realize, work on his cadence. A lot of hub drive motorbikes, you know, forget about working on cadence. This bike has really helped Gary become a much better bicycle rider and become a lot more fit. So sometimes, you know, when you know, working on your fitness and maybe you're a bigger guy, it's hard to just jump in with a road bike group and all of a sudden feel like, you know, you're struggling so hard it takes all the fun out of it. So this bike has helped Gary climb several fitness goals, and it's been doing it in a fun way. So it's just been a really good bike. After 2 years of riding this bike, we have done some upgrades. So, you know, Gary put a set of Rideable Terra CLX rims on it. Now, Gary went for the higher end CLX rims because, you know, the weight limit is a little bit bigger on these rims than they are the regular CLs. So We mounted a set of Continental GP 5000s in the 32, and that tire here really, you know, helps this bike ride like a magic carpet, you know, on rough surfaces. But it still keeps this tire super fast. So these tires don't slow Gary down at all, but keep things, you know, very comfortable for him. And that's one of the benefits of having a motor on your bike, something to help you propel. You're not always worried about, you know, being a weight weenie.
It's originally EVO.
Yeah, exactly. It's that, and that's what this bike does is let you get out there with a group. Sometimes if you know, we're in a pace line and you see someone want to try to jump in a pace line with a bike with a hub drive motor that's not made, you know, like a road bike or like a gravel bike, we get worried because, you know, the handling, we don't know the skill level of these people, and they have caused some accidents. When Gary's riding this bike, it's just like a regular bike. So actually, there's a lot of times after a ride, we have to tell people that this is an e-bike. And everybody really enjoys having Gary on the ride with this bike. You know, true range on this bike. If Gary's doing an 18 to 20 mile an hour group ride, 40 miles usually will kill a battery, but 40-mile group ride is, you know, that's a pretty stout ride. Now Gary has, you know, bought a battery extender for this ride, so on some of the longer rides, and Gary would have never thought about doing a 50-mile ride before he bought this bike. It is so awesome having Gary out there on, you know, on some of these longer rides, and the range extender does give Gary about another 20 miles. So just know that you can get some speed, that you can get some distance, and you can really build a lot of fitness with this bike. This bike could have been a really good gravel bike. Gary doesn't really do the gravel much, so he's kind of turned it more into a road bike. And that's what's nice about this bike. It can do dual. A lot of people ask about the gear range of this bike. Gary doesn't have any problems doing maybe a friendlier group ride where it's about, you know, 15 to 18, but if Gary wants to go 28 miles an hour, he can go 28 miles an hour, and we've kept things stock on this bike as far as the gears. And Gary has put it out on the gravel, so I mean, it's been a gravel bike a few times, but I really like the configuration Gary has on this bike now. Like I said, a couple of the upgrades that Gary has done, Gary's changed the seat. You know, the seat is something that's particular to everybody's own body type. And when it comes down to it, it's been a fantastic bike. And it's, you know, it's nice when Gary can carry a couple extra tools for everybody. Carry a pump. A lot of people don't want to carry a pump. Extra patch kit and stuff. So it's really nice when Gary volunteers to maybe carry a little extra weight on this bike because he knows that the motor is going to really help him with it. Let me step out of the way real quick and grab the camera. Gary, why don't you get in front of the camera for a second? So Gary's normally, you know, behind the scenes, but some people have seen a couple cameo appearances with Gary. So this is Gary. Well, impromptu video. We're out spending the night at a cabin here because we did a group ride today. So just know, you know, our videos a lot of times aren't staged. This is real. We had an awesome ride today. We said, Gary, let's do a little video on your bike after 2 years. Well, you got a couple quick words on it, Gary?
Love the bike. It's one of the best purchases I've made. Like Bart said, there's a lot of the rides I'm doing, I would never be able to do them without this bike, and I'm able to ride with the people I want to ride with.
Yeah, and we love having you out there, Gary. And I have really seen your fitness go a long way, you know.
And with the adjustments on here, I can ride with different groups. If I want to ride with a slow group, I can cut it down a little bit. If I want to ride with the A-team, I put it in turbo mode and
let it eat.
try to keep up.
And that's another thing. I mean, this is a very rideable bike. This bike, you can ride in a group. You don't have to worry about these surges of power. It's very smooth.
It's very natural feeling. You really don't tell much difference in this than a regular road bike, except I think I'm riding in a smaller chain ring, and yeah, I've got more power than what I should have.
And it's a great looking bike. You know, that GRX 810 made shifting a dream. I mean, it's a great bike. And if you do like what we do here on the Bicycle Rider YouTube, please like and subscribe so we can, you know, keep these videos going. And it lets the YouTube know that, you know, you guys are paying attention to us. But yeah, great bike. Thank you, Gary, for a cameo appearance in front of the camera. This, like I said, this is not staged. We just do this stuff after really riding this bike. So any questions, you know, hit me up. My name is Bart Luther. I own Biloxi Bicycle Works. These bikes are kind of hard to get at the moment, but if you have questions about it, you know, give me a call at the shop or send us an email. We'll be glad to get you, you know, in touch with Gary if you want to talk to Gary personally about it, or me. We're here as a, you know, as a tool for you guys to use when wanting to purchase a bike like this. So just know that the Specialized Creo SL has been an awesome bike, and it's a joy to have, you know, as part of our peloton. Thanks, Gary.